Let's talk about Sturgill Simpson's album, The Sound and the Fury. Hi, welcome to Garage Geek. So this is a challenge video. I challenged Chris at Rekkid Talk to listen to One Stormy Night. Now, the reason I did this is because I often see Chris going through bargain bins and looking through record crates at flea markets and those type of places. And this album, to me, was a bargain bin find that I fell in love with. I thought if anyone might do it justice, it would be Chris, just because he doesn't mind picking up bargain records. But I also know he also has very nice taste in music. And he likes more, I'm assuming, kind of alt and indie rock. So this actually might have been out of his comfort zone a bit. I'm not sure. Now, the one thing that I'm going to say is that this album is super cheesy, but I love it for its cheesiness. I'm wondering if it'll be like a Goldilocks situation where it'll be just the right amount of cheese, or if it's going to be this cheese is too hot or this cheese is too cold. I am not sure. So I'm very looking forward to watching the video that he makes about this, and I hope you'll also tune into that video. Once his video is posted, I will go ahead and add the link in my description. So let's go ahead and talk about Sturgill Simpson. Now, Sturgill Simpson is an artist that I know. I actually have this album of his. I was really enamored with his version of The Promise. And this album, even though he started, I would say, yeah, he started out as a country singer. This album has a lot of psychedelic elements to it. And what's interesting is that he is an artist who will change his style every album. So he refuses to be pigeonholed. And that's going to bring us to Sound and Fury from 2019. Now, Sound and Fury was his fourth studio album, and he also made it into a Netflix dystopian anime film. Now, what's a really interesting fact about this album is that it was nominated at the Grammys for Best Rock Album. And that's kind of interesting since he started out as a country star, and he is the only artist, or he's the first artist, I should say, to be nominated in the categories of Best Rock Album and Best Country Album. So, pretty versatile. So let's go ahead and jump into the songs. There are actually 10 songs on this album. The first song is called Ronin, and it is an instrumental. At the beginning, you hear someone getting into a car, changing the channel, picking the right channel, and then revving the car and speeding away. Now, this gives me, along with the title, because the Ronin is like a masterless samurai. I had a supernatural vibe to this, right? The TV show where he's getting in his car and he's going off to fight evil. The second song, Remember to Breathe, has lyrics about him finding a target and getting the deed done and then staying in the shadows. And the lyrics to this song are really nice. Let me go ahead and read some. I go out late at night just to see what I can find, staying in the shadows where the light don't ever shine, having one-way conversations with the darkness in my mind. He does all the talking because I'm the quiet kind. I'm going to have to say that throughout this album, the songwriting is really interesting. Song number 3 is Sing Along, which is about, it seems to me, about a jilted lover. I can't go on living alone now that you're gone. The lyrics are, again, really interesting, and this one has a lot of fuzzy guitar. On the fourth song, we get more and more of like a synth and disco sound, and that's going to continue for the next couple of songs. The lyrics are interesting about how fame can be fleeting, especially for those people who get fame for the wrong reasons. who try to jump into the spotlight by doing something to get attention rather than relying on talent. Throughout this album, there's going to be this theme of railing against people who are superficial, who jump for fame, or who are hangers-on and who aren't real friends. The fifth song is Make Art, Not Friends, and this continues that theme of trying to get away from people who aren't around you for the right reasons. This also has that synth disco beat. I kind of felt a Donna Summer, I Feel Love vibe. It was very circular and rhythmic. And in fact, the first minute and a half of this song is an instrumental. And then the singing starts to be about life being jaded and needing everything to be changed and not trusting those around you. The sixth song, The Best Clockmaker on Mars, I'm going to assume that's the planet Mars. And so if that's true, then it seems to me that he wants something that's impossible to achieve. And he's not really satisfied with what he has, or people aren't satisfied with what they have and they always want something else. The intro of this song sounds very prog to me, and I can't put my finger on what song it sounds like, but then it really starts to rock. On the seventh song, All Said and Done, the rhythm is a bit slower. His voice is still very powerful. Track number 8, Last Man Standing, is rocking again, heavy rocking, but I feel this boogie woogie to it. So his voice again he's got a very powerful voice and a very nice voice to listen to. His singing is being drowned out. Like, you can hear his voice very strong, but it's difficult for you to make out the words. What I'm trying to say is, I guess his voice isn't clear, even though it's powerful. And it's because of I feel like the reverb. There's a lot of reverb on this album, a lot of I guess they're called fuzzy guitars, where they make that noise where it's going to block out some of the singing. Number 9, Mercury in Retrograde. Again, has a really interesting beat and lyrics. And the last song on the album is The Fastest Horse in Town. And a lot of the songs at the end, I'm not going over the lyrics because they're not the same lyrics, obviously, but they have the same kind of ideas as the other songs. This album ends very heavy, very rocking. It's also well sung. Like, his voice is, to me, great. It's just a great voice. But again, it's buried in reverb. Now, what are my final thoughts on this album? This album is excellent. But I do have a complaint, right? And you probably can hear this coming. There's so many of you I already know out there who would love this for the complaint that I'm about to have. But this guy has a good voice, and I mean a really good voice. I don't want it drowned out by instruments. And I'm glad, like, he's doing some rocking on this album. But Tom Petty rocks, and his voice isn't obscured by the music. So I don't know if it's fair to say that, because he's obviously trying something new and something different. And like I said, I know a lot of you are going to like it just for the reason that I'm complaining about. But I really do think that Sturgill Simpson has such a great voice, and I want to be able to hear it clearly. That being said, this album does rock. It's a really, really good album. Every song is quite different from the one before it. He goes through a bunch of different styles. This is definitely an album worth listening to. So again, I want to thank Chris at Rekkid Talk for doing this challenge with me. I was really interested to hear this album. In fact, I need to not only watch the video that accompanies this album, but I need to listen to the albums in between. because Sturgill Simpson definitely has a really interesting career. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the support.